Russia's foreign minister says Moscow's relationship with China is at its strongest level ever.
The declaration comes as the U.S. and its allies work to isolate Russia and deter China from aiding the Kremlin in any way. Now, China has called for a ceasefire, but has not condemned Russia outright. Now, there is growing fear that Beijing could aid Moscow with weapons or help circumvent the Western-imposed sanctions. Joining us now is former Montana Senator and former U.S. Ambassador to China, Max Baucus. Mr. Ambassador, welcome.
You bet, thank you.
China seems to be playing its cards close to his vest, which is not uncommon for the Chinese. So what's your take on China's role in this conflict and its relationship with Russia?
Well, you're right. China does play its cards very close to its vest. That gives it a bit of an advantage compared, in some respects, with our open system, our open democratic system. It's clear that President Xi is quite distressed with the performance of Putin in Ukraine. Putin's not nearly as strong as most people thought, including U.S. intelligence, let alone Chinese intelligence. So right now, President Xi is really the stronger, bigger brother by far compared with Putin. They may have a relationship, but President Xi is going to, frankly, use Putin when Putin can help him. When Putin's strong, that's going to help aid China geopolitically, because China very much wants the U.S. to be preoccupied with Europe and Ukraine, pay less attention to China. On the other hand, if Putin's weak, then China will use that to its favor too by extracting great concessions on gas, for example, and oil and other foodstuffs from Russia. So it's playing out in a way that, frankly, where President Xi is pretty much in the catbird seat with respect to that relationship.
It's very interesting. So you point out that this weakness that Putin has now shown the world and shown Xi is giving him room to manipulate their relationship a little bit. That's a very interesting point. But I also want to ask you about China's, unwillingness to condemn Russia, whether you believe that is signaling in any way its own desire to escalate advances on Taiwan.
No, I don't think the two are related at all. President Xi and China do want Russia to do well, because a stronger Russia, as I mentioned, keeps the United States preoccupied in Europe, and the United States therefore pays a little less attention to China, so that China can proceed worldwide, especially economically, build up economic power with the Belt and Road Initiative or in Africa or wherever. No, China's going to play the long game with Taiwan. Very long game with Taiwan. I sincerely doubt that they're going to militarily invade Taiwan, but Taiwan is existential to China, no question about it. But I think the two are very different, Ukraine and Taiwan. In Ukraine, don't forget, Putin is a military guy. He wants a quick win. China is not a military power that way. They're big military, but their approach is much more economic. They don't invade countries militarily. They just play a strong, long-term economic game to squeeze others to gain their advantage.
Now, Western sanctions on Russia have been crippling. And as we mentioned, some of the concerns are that China might help Russia dodge some of these sanctions. How might they do that? And do you think that's likely?
I think it's somewhat likely. China clearly did help dodge sanctions on North Korea. It is true that North Korea is on the Chinese border, but China, it's because it's a not transparent country, can find all sorts of ways to help someone they want to, even though it's not widely known. No, they could very well help indirectly help Russia gain the economic advantage that it wants. They're very clever, the Chinese. They're very smart. I think we Americans don't give them enough credit. We must remember, though, it's a different subject. It's, when President Biden works with President Xi, tried to work out China's arrangement in Ukraine, it's very important for the United States to tell China, hey, play ball here, or else there'll be more sanctions on you, China. And China clearly does not want that, and they'll do what they can to avoid the sanctions on China. On the other hand, President Biden also knows that long-term the United States has to work with China. China's not going anywhere. It's going to be the second largest economic power in the world. So President Biden needs to find ways to work with China on, say, North Korea, on Iran, and certainly, in this case, Ukraine.
All right, Ambassador Max Baucus, thank you so much for that fascinating insight into a relationship the whole world is watching, the Russia-China relationship. Thank you so much.